Hey, welcome back to Kitchen Table Wargaming with me, the Kitchen Table Wargamer. And this particular little episode or clip that I'm producing today is really just focused on how in the world do you go about choosing a faction to play in the Warhammer world. This website is not mine by any means. It's just a public website that's out there, and I thought I would just show it to y'all real quick and just kind of talk through some of these factions. If you have no idea what's going on with Warhammer 40k, it is set in the Warhammer 40,000 universe. 40,000 is referring to the year 40,000, so it's way out in the future, sci-fi type stuff. Earth, or Terra, in the universe of Warhammer 40,000 has launched itself out into the space age and the space race in this setting, and the Emperor of Mankind is the one that we had to thank for that. And he founded a few different fighting forces or military arms to help ensure our conquest of the universe, as far as that's concerned. The Space Marines being the big bad golden children of this whole endeavor. The Space Marines are like superhuman dudes, big, massive, monstrous kind of guys, super fast. They have extra organs like double hearts and extra lungs and things like that. They have chemicals in their systems that fight poisons, all that good stuff in the lore. So they're just heavy duty, hardy, hard to kill. There's a lot of different sub factions of the Space Marines, so that's just one group. Also, in the world of the Imperium of Man, as this is called, you'd have the Astra Militarum. They're another group there. These would be like your normal humans. They are the ones that run out in mass forces, lots of small little plastic bodies, lots of tanks, lots of vehicles. So if you want to play an army that resembles more of what we would have in our time, Astra Militarum is for you. They're pretty fun. Imperium of Man would also include, there's some assassins you can take. There are some other types of troops and things you can take, and you have the Adeptus Sororitas. These are amazing. These are the ladies that fight in the Warhammer universe, the Sisters of Battle as they're called. They're really fun armies. They have some crazy rules right now, and depending on how you play them, they can be incredibly potent right now, so they're a lot of fun. Oh, I left out an important one here. Some might put this group in the Space Marines, but there's also a group called the Custodes. The Custodes are the bodyguards, the personal army to the Emperor, and they make regular Space Marines look kind of small. They're a super elite force. The Space Marines are elite already. The Custodes would fall into the super elite. And you have the Inquisition. They don't exactly have their own army, but they work with any of the Emperor's forces. They can work in alongside and with them. So kind of some fun stuff there. And you have the Adeptus Mechanicus. These folk live on Mars. May or may not have been human at one point. I'm not real familiar with their lore. They're not very human anymore, but they are the ones that build all of the weaponry and all of the ships and the vessels, and all of the crazy technology stuff comes from Adeptus Mechanicus. So they're kind of a little force unto themselves. Currently, they've got some pretty cool armies, cool tricks and things going in their favor, and definitely a fun one. They have a different look to them, a whole different feel to the way they play, which makes them fun. Very unique army. I really enjoy them, although I don't actually play them myself. My son has them, and they're fun. We have a good time messing around with those. So that's the majority of what you would find as far as the air quotes here, good guys, the ones that are loyal to the Emperor. Then you have the alien races. These are a few of them. The Necrons, they are an ancient race that got so in love with technology and were sort of tricked by some old ones, I guess, and so they turned themselves kind of into undead robots in a sense. Kind of wild. Really fun technology, really cool lore. But they're also not brand new, they've been updated recently. So their faction is a really cool one right now, getting some brand new rules coming out in October for them. So if you fancy the idea of some ancient undead race that's kind of half robot, maybe has a little bit of something fleshy in there somewhere, definitely check them out. Tyranids, these are the bugs. They swarm over everything. They eat everything. They have bioweapons. Really, actually, very cool. My daughter this is the army that she picked, and she's got a small 500-ish point collection, and uh, she really loves them. They're a little tricky to play right now as far as the rules are concerned. So if you're looking to be like trying to get competitive right off the bat, you might want to hold off until they get an update on rules. But they're a really fun army. Lots of cool tricks, cool things they get to do, and they look amazing. Totally foreign and totally different. You also have, I'm going to scroll down because some of the other ones are down here. Uh, you will have Eldar. There's Dark Eldar. There's regular Eldar. The Eldar, they're kind of like the elves almost. People call them the space elves. I play Dark Eldar. I have an army of Dark Eldar. Lots of fun. They're called the Drukari for the specific name. Really cool. They're kind of space pirates almost. The Eldar themselves have a lot of technology. Another ancient alien race. Just a really, really fun design to them. There's like an elvish aspect in the typical sense of elf. What comes to mind, that's kind of how they look. Little smaller bodies, a little thin compared to Space Marines, for example. But they're crafty and they're tricky and they just do cool things. So that's a fun force there. You also have the Tau. The Tau, there's lots of jokes about the Tau being fish people. They're small bodies. They don't do well in combat, but they have the coolest mechanized suits. So if you're a fan of Gundam, things like that, that's sort of what the Tau bring to mind. They have big mechanized suits that they have guys inside of. They've put out tons and tons of firepower. They're just not super great at combat. They can move around pretty well. So playing Tau, again, kind of like the Tyranids, they play very differently than the Tyranids. But in the same sense, their rules have them in an interesting place right now, waiting for updates on that. As the 9th edition rules are still coming out, they've updated the whole game for us, so we're getting new rules for a lot of things. They might not be the first army to get new rules, but they're on the way. Lots of fun there. Then again, you have the orcs, and they do what orcs do. I mean, in almost all the games and almost all the lore, the orcs are portrayed as not super intelligent, and yet they're really, really strong, really resilient, and they're everywhere. And that's kind of how it is with this. And in 40K, they're really a fun, kind of an amusing army. Their weapons and their vehicles and things, they're all slapped together from pieces and bits that they take from other armies and worlds that they have conquered, and they put it together, and for some weird reason it all works. And so it's a lot of fun. I mean, and the way they play, their weapons might not shoot very well accurately, but if they do get hits, then they're really deadly. They do a lot of melee. They want to get all in your face and tear you apart. That's a lot of fun. Currently, in 9th edition with Warhammer 40K, they're doing a great job of having each of these different factions actually feel a bit like you would expect that faction to feel. So that's kind of fun. Pretty cool. I'm not going to say that's all of the aliens because I'll probably forget one, but that's the majority of the alien races. And then you have the last group mentioned up here is the Chaos Space Marines. And Chaos ties into the demon class. So you have Chaos Demons, Chaos Space Marines, and Chaos is kind of the overarching category for them. So Chaos comes in and does exactly what you would think it would do. They corrupt. And so you had Space Marines that were loyal to the Emperor, and over the course of hundreds and hundreds of years of fighting, and a really fun, fascinating story to go read the books from, the Horus Heresy, some of the Space Marines go bad. And you have the Chaos Space Marines. They are corrupted by Chaos Demons, and then those demons are run by the 4 Chaos Gods. And you have just really fun, flavorful armies that come out of the Chaos side of the 40K universe. And again, they're like all the other factions. They that are not Space Marines right now. They have really cool rules, really cool models, but making them competitive in the tournament setting is still challenging. It's not impossible, but it takes a little more work. The Space Marines have more things thrown their way faster than some of the other armies because they're kind of what helped Games Workshop start 40K in the first place, right? So they get cooler toys faster than the rest of the world. It is what it is. There's still lots of fun. And before I forget, because it just crossed my mind, we have Gene Stealer Cult. The Gene Stealer Cult is actually regular humans, peoples that have joined forces with the Tyranids. So they have a lot of the same looking bodies as the regular humans would, but their vehicles are a little different. There's some corruption that goes on with that, but they can take the tanks that the Imperial Guard would take, or the Astra Militarum. They can take those same vehicles and tanks, and you can run those with this Gene Stealer Cult, and then you throw in some Tyranids, and it makes for a really interesting army that currently needs some updates. Everybody would agree. But it's like anything. If you play around with it enough and you research it enough and you look at lists and list building enough, and that's a whole different episode, you can find ways to make them work. And right now, with it being the very beginning of the 9th edition of Warhammer 40,000, it's a good time to be reading, checking out some of the history and the lore behind these different factions, and picking something that just feels kind of flavorful and something that you would enjoy yourself. So that's a very big, broad brushstrokes overview of the different factions in Warhammer 40,000. And if you're to drill into Space Marines, for example, there's 10, 11 of these. I don't know the number off the top of my head. Of unique factions within Space Marines themselves that you can play, and they all play a little differently. My first love and my first army is the Grey Knights, and the Grey Knights are a sub-faction of the Space Marines, almost like the Jedi of the Warhammer 40,000 universe, and as you can tell behind me, I do like Star Wars, and that's probably what drew me to the Grey Knights. They're also like the Imperium of mankind's answer to demons and the demon corruption. And so I kind of got a kick out of that too. Lots of fun to play. Very unique in the Space Marines. But that's just an example of the different flavors. There's a flavor of the Space Marines that their whole focus is killing the aliens. They call them the Xenos in the 40K universe. And they're kind of separate from the other Space Marine chapters as well. Different rules, a unique play style. They get some special rules that can impact Necrons. They can take a special rule that is specific towards Tyranids, towards Eldar. Just makes that army really interesting as well. So that's the really, like I said, really broad strokes picture of the factions. And if you have the time, I would recommend looking up this page, Warhammer 40K, Phantom.com, category factions, and then you can click on each of these and find out more and more detail about that. The other thing I wanted to show y'all is this. If you just do a quick Google of faction finding for 40K or how to pick a faction in 40K, you will find a link to a Reddit post that has this flowchart. And this flowchart starts you off here, and you can see it just branches off and branches off and branches off. But I like this because it actually addresses a lot of the different things. Are you into chaos? Are you into order? Are you into psychic? That would be like the Jedi mind tricks. Shenanigans? Are you into the way that the aliens play? Do you like something else? Almost every option is available through this flowchart. And the way 40K has been set up, there's an army that you would probably enjoy playing based on any of those answers. So check it out. It's pretty cool. This flowchart might take you a little while to read through it, but you'll figure it out. And it's a pretty accurate flowchart. I got a kick out of it. When I finally found it, I like it. I'm a teacher in high school, so I have a Warhammer club here at the school that I've been starting up. I started up a couple years ago. Last year was tough, so we came back this year, and we're trying it out. So I found this and posted it in my Google Classroom for my Warhammer club. And I've already had a few kids that have gone through and chosen some armies that they think they would probably enjoy playing the most. And it's been kind of fun to see how they read through the chart and what they settle on. So this is a cool tool. Here it says it's 40K Army Picker. I just noticed that up here. And it's a PDF. I found it on a Reddit post, but you can find it and just download it and look through it. So lots of fun. Hopefully this doesn't make your head just explode, because there are a lot of factions in Warhammer 40,000. Picking any one of them and starting from there, you'll have fun,